Las Vegas is not ready for the Oakland Raiders to relocate. Las Vegas is not ready for the Oakland Raiders NFL team to be in that region. In fact, it is light years from being ready. And this news comes really not so much from me, but from, of all organizations, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, in a article written by Richard Velota last Thursday, January 19th, where he laid out some of the issues outstanding that added up point to basically Vegas having absolutely nothing. And a number of people are saying, hey, how come the NFL's not weighing in on the fact that Las Vegas has got nothing? And the media, the mainstream media, reporting about Las Vegas as if it has a ton and Oakland has nothing, when the reality is the reverse. Excellent set of questions. But let me come back home for the purpose of this video blog. There are many reasons, 14 in all primary that I've counted, some listed in the Review Journal from last Thursday, and others I added to based on if you followed this, our common knowledge of what the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee has done, the way the stadium legislation was written, and an NFL stadium development process to date, and how that's done versus where we are today is what I meant to say. All right, let me cut to the chase and go right to the list. It's right here, actually below you in text, with a link to a longer blog post both at zenny62blog.com and at the Oakland Post. And I'm going to read them to you right here, okay? Here's number one. Here's reason number one, folks. The Las Vegas Stadium Authority is still, as of this writing, in formation. In fact, they seated their newest board member on January 12th, and they haven't even selected their law firm. They're supposed to do that this coming Thursday. Today is January 22nd, okay? That's number one. Number two, there's still no developer at all. The initial Las Vegas Sands Oakland Raiders agreement included Majestic Realty, but as you remember, on September 13th, hey, they bowed out. And they said that Mr. Adelson, Sheldon Adelson, the founder of Las Vegas Sands, the founder and CEO of Las Vegas Sands, said, this is going to be my legacy project. I'm going to pay for everything. Okay? So, no developer. No replacement for Majestic. Not to mention the $150 million they brought to the project. Okay? Now, 3. There is no deal with Mr. Adelson and Las Vegas Sands and Mark Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders. Nothing. All right? To date, what was expected by some to be smooth sailing, and I'm reading my text here, after the Nevada legislature was strong-armed by Adelson's deputies, and some would say bullied, into passing the controversial $750 million subsidy with a very tight and unheard of 1.5 to 1 debt coverage ratio. Remember that whole deal, that whole discussion? Has been anything but smooth. It hasn't been smooth at all. Okay. Consider this. Adelson went public, as you may remember, saying that he could walk away from a plan with Davis if he didn't get what he wanted. Davis, in turn, let the media float an alternative plan as an idea. He kind of dropped that out there and said, hey, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to go with Goldman Sachs as my financier. Now, the media made the assumption that Davis meant that Goldman Sachs was going to invest its own money into the stadium project. But folks, Goldman Sachs is an investment banking firm. It does not put its own money into stadium project deals like some charitable person or somebody, answering a gigantic GoFundMe campaign. No. What Goldman Sachs does is finance bond issues based on expected income streams related to a stadium development project plan. That's what Goldman Sachs does in this context. What does that all mean? It means they still have to identify an investor. Okay? A replacement for Adelson. That hasn't been done. Okay? So that's first of all, number 3, there's no deal. Number 4, as I said, there's no named or identified replacement investor for Sheldon Adelson. Even with claims that one exists out there, no one, somewhere, no real name or organization to date has been identified. Nothing. Number 5, there's no deal agreement with the alternative investor to Sheldon Adelson and Mr. Davis, okay? Number 6, because of 3, 4, and 5, there's no proposed term sheet, unlike Oakland. Number 7, because of 3, 4, and 5, there's no stadium lease agreement. Number 8, because of 3, 4, and 5, the NFL has not weighed in with its opinion here. Although it really should, but that's another matter I'll get to in a few seconds. Number 9, there's no stadium land deal in place. You hear? Listen, folks, there's no stadium land deal in place right now. Nothing, okay? The Review-Journal explains what many have known for months, and that is to quote, 64 acres on 4 parcels bordered by Russell Road, Hacienda Avenue, Polaris Avenue, and Dean Martin Drive. I love that name, Dean Martin Drive. It's just west of Interstate 15 in the Mandalay Bay Resort Hotel. The Raiders reportedly have an option to buy the unoccupied land. Okay, that is a quote from the Review-Journal. But what that means is nothing's been done. When you say, and this has been said a number of times, the Raiders reportedly have an option, it means no one is really sure the Raiders actually have an option on the land. Have you seen the paper? I haven't. Show it to me. I haven't seen it. Where's the option? Where is it? Just saying, all right? Number 10 reason. According to the Nevada legislature enabling document, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, once the land is selected, has to still approve it. In other words, the developer, let's say they get a developer, they decide on a land parcel. They have to take it to the Stadium Authority to get the Stadium Authority's thumbs up. Yeah? So, now I'm not saying, yeah, right. No, I know this is the case, all right? It's right there in black and white, all right? So, there are other competing land ideas. For example, there's a reported 67 acres between Las Vegas Boulevard and I-15. This comes from the Review-Journal, just north of Blue Diamond Road. And then, of course, there's the famous Cashman site that's favored by Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman and has been for some time. People have been sort of quiet about that one. Number 11. Reason number 11. Who pays for the $1 billion stadium transportation plan? Remember that thing that was released by the Nevada Department of Transportation on October 4th, but it wasn't known by the Nevada legislature, let alone the media, until October 10th, in that famous leak that came out in the Review-Journal article. Remember that? While the Nevada legislature was deliberating regarding the $750 million subsidy. A piece of news that almost wrecked the votes the Las Vegas Sands lobbyists worked so hard to get. Remember that? The Review-Journal article I mentioned in this vlog from last Thursday doesn't even mention that. Hey folks, that issue's still out there and it's going to come up at some point very soon. Number 12. Once the Nevada Stadium Authority gets to the point of approving a deal, if one ever comes to fruition, the Clark County Board of Commissioners still has to approve the permits and possible needed zoning changes on the properties to build a stadium wherever site is going to be selected, which is going to be in Clark County within that 25 radius because it's the jurisdiction of the Stadium Authority, and that's the idea, okay? The Stadium Authority's legislation does not give it power to totally circumvent Clark County's board. It just isn't there. In fact, the Stadium Authority was formed primarily as a fiscal agent. It wasn't designed to act as a development arm to circumvent Clark County's Board of Commissioners. That wasn't the idea. The idea was for the Stadium Authority to float bonds on behalf of the county. It's right there in the enabling legislation. Read it. Read it. Okay? Number 13, big question here. The Review-Journal did deal with this question as well. Who pays for the $550 million relocation fee? Over 10 years, that's $55 million. And we go with this discussion right back to the situation in Carson, where the relocation fee of the same amount, not including interest, came up as a subject with this. The Raiders can't afford it. Even over 10 years, that's $55 million. And the Raiders, throughout the entire 21st century, have never had a net operating income above 44 million. Okay? Ever. 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 So you add 55 million to its net operating income, and it means what? It means that the silver and black is always in the red. For the next 10 years. Who's going to pay that? That question was never dealt with, never answered at all. Still outstanding out there, okay? And then, number 14. Where does the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and its dire need for a football stadium fit into all this? Are the Raiders going to let them use the stadium rent-free, like as a tax write-off or something? And if that's the case, does that tax write-off add up to enough of an amount to offset stadium operating costs associated with UNLV's use of the facility? Has that been figured out yet? I would guess not. Okay, so those are the 14 primary questions right there. They all add up to, hey, Las Vegas isn't ready, all right? And as I say here, Oakland, this is where Oakland is light years ahead of Las Vegas. Let's go down the line. First of all, Oakland has an investor in the Lock Group and Fortress Investments investor developer. It has land that does not need to be approved for rezoning. It has a stadium term sheet. It has approved use of the land via a general plan approved in 2015, an already financed infrastructure plan, a transportation system that does not need to be upgraded or expanded, let alone paid for, because it doesn't need to be upgraded or expanded, right? pretty neat, huh? And because it's the home of the Raiders, there's no need for a $550 million relocation fee. And then let's not forget this huge consideration. Oakland is home of Raider Nation. That raucous, beautiful, passionate group of people that have stood behind the Oakland Raiders through thick and thin, through bad years and good, who fueled a 2016 season ticket sales record sellout with a wait list. That's what they did. So Oakland has all that. And when you consider that, and you consider where Las Vegas is, you have to ask the question, what are the Raiders doing? And why hasn't the NFL weighed in on the fact the Raiders shouldn't even really be considering Vegas, and Vegas isn't ready? Stay tuned.